Welcome to the Unfuck Your Fitness podcast. I am your host, Christy Castillo, and I'm here to give you real talk and cut the BS so you can actually enjoy building a body you love. I'm a personal trainer obsessed with giving you simple action steps to take you from feeling stuck to feeling sexy. Let's go. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's episode. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of mastering one thing at a time on your fitness journey. So many people fail at losing weight long-term or building muscle or basically changing body composition, right? Whatever goal you have for your body, fitness and health-wise, it's really hard to achieve that goal. It's really hard to change your body, especially when you have no idea what you're doing. And I have watched so many people fail at their weight loss journey, especially when women come to me and they are wanting to change their body. And I ask, what they've done in the past, and they can tell me all these different diets that they've done. And they failed at them. 100% of the time they have failed at said diet. That's why they come to me for help, of course. And I love that they came to me for help. It makes me sad that they failed at so many other things. But at the same time, I failed. I failed at all of the things as well. So if you ask most people if they're happy with their body, they're going to say no. And that's okay. Everyone has the ability to improve on their body, right? We should always love our body, and it would be great to be confident and happy with our body, but you can always want to improve. But it's because they don't understand weight loss. So if you ask someone if they're completely happy with their body, probably no. But do you know how to change your body? Do you know how to lose weight? No. Even if they have lost weight or gained muscle in the past, they can maybe even tell you what they did to lose weight, right? If someone has done Weight Watchers and they lost 20, 30 pounds and they feel amazing, they can tell you all about Weight Watchers, right? They can tell you exactly what they did and which foods were what points and the meetings and how it went for them. But they have no idea how they lost the weight. They don't know what the point value of that food means in their body and why that actually caused them to lose weight. By the way, it's a calorie deficit, but they don't know that. We don't learn that. So as soon as they stop Weight Watchers, they're done. So they can tell you, yeah, this is how I lost weight. It was amazing. Well, how do you plan to keep that off forever? Or how did you do that? Or, what really happened there? They have no idea. And same, I've heard men before, say well, I just started eating really healthy, or I started eating more and I went to the gym. I'm saying it with the weird voice. Why am I doing that? And I started going to the gym and lifting heavy, and, they feel like they're an expert. And I am poking fun, but I'm also understanding that this is completely normal, right? This is what I started doing, drinking all these protein shakes and going to the gym and lifting heavy. And now I built all this muscle, but they have no idea how that works, or when they get to a plateau, what are they going to do, right? We don't understand the basics of losing weight or gaining muscle, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And that's why we keep getting stuck. There is a lot that goes into being healthy. And when we try to do all of the things at once, we may see results for a little while. Enter the gentleman who starts drinking all the protein shakes and lifting really heavy. He's going to see results. Enter the woman who goes to Weight Watchers and starts attending the meetings and tracking all of her food and counting all of the points and whatever. She's going to see results for a while. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's easier to just do these things for a little while, see some results, and then, right, what's the cycle? We get stuck and we don't know what we're doing. And part of that is because we literally don't know what we're doing. And the other part of that is because our current society is not set up to support a healthy lifestyle. It's also not set up to support consistency. Our current society is set up to appreciate quick fixes and, quick success and that instant gratification. And that's not how you become fit. That's not how you become healthy. It's a rarity to be fit and healthy. Honestly, I mean, think about it. When you see someone fit, if you see someone healthy, maybe not necessarily healthy, fit does not equal healthy. I don't want you to think that those always align. There are times when I have looked super fit and people thought I was like probably super healthy, but I had autoimmune stuff going on and my stomach was terrible and I had so much inflammation. And so I was not healthy. So fit does not equal healthy. But if you see someone with a banging body and huge muscles or just a woman with like sexy toned body and she looks strong and fit, they're a rarity. Like even myself, when I see someone like that, I'm like, wow, good for them. Like they stand out in a crowd and you think, wow, they're doing something different. Like they've got it figured out, right? I'll have what they're having. But for me, it's like, I know that like they have it figured out and they work really hard and they go against society's norms of the quick fixes and, the full out intensity. And I think some of the things that we think it takes to lose weight or to get fit. And usually when that person, almost always that person that you see who is super, super fit and has the body that you want, it's not because they're doing anything extreme. That's what I used to think, like, wow, they must spend hours in the gym and only eat chicken and broccoli and, never go out and not have any fun. They're not doing anything extreme and they're not doing anything that you can't do either. They just know the basics and they do them for years. And that's really what it's all about. So in my opinion, you have to learn one thing at a time in this journey. You have to do one thing at a time and you have to master one thing at a time. That's what it took for me. It took me realizing that basically, this is no secret here, I guess, Beachbody programs were not it for me. I really did like the workout, some of them. I enjoyed some of the workouts. But honestly, I went from Beachbody workouts to bodybuilding.com workouts, and I really liked bodybuilding.com workouts better. I think it was because there wasn't a video to follow, for one. So I didn't have to hear someone talking. I didn't have to try to keep up. And I actually started learning what movements, what patterns, what types of workouts worked for me. I think there's something, I don't even know if it was on the website where it kind of taught you like I think there was. I think when you started a bodybuilding.com like program, like my programs, it comes with something that says, and maybe Beachbody does too. Maybe I just didn't read it. I don't know. But they weren't set up the same, just to be honest. These bodybuilding.com workouts would say like, these are broken up into different phases. And phase 1 is designed to, teach you this and have you lose some weight. And then phase 2 is designed to teach you this and you will gain some muscle. And phase 3 workouts are designed for X and, this will be your result. And so it really helped me to see like, okay, doing these workouts and eating this amount of food got me this result. And it started to put together the pieces for me. So back to what I was trying to say, I went from following the norm and just kind of putting in the time and tracking, not even measuring my food, and basically kind of like Weight Watchers with workouts, Beachbody, and just kind of doing that. And there's nothing wrong with that if you like that, but it wasn't, I didn't know why I was doing what I was doing. And I think that got really old for me. It was like, why am I seeing results or why am I not seeing results? And so I went from kind of following the norm, I guess, just following along to finally figuring out that like, I want to figure out why I'm doing these things. And so I had to like almost go backwards. Like I had a really good foundation in, and this was before I was a Beachbody coach. This was just me doing the programs. I had a really good foundation in fitness and health and a basic, right? But I had to like undo that and go back to, okay, why am I eating this food? And why am I eating this much food, right? Me as like a 5'3", 5'3" woman, age, whatever, weight, whatever, like my body needs this much food. Why? And what kind of foods does it need and why? And what types of workouts are going to benefit me and my goals? Because I'm doing a shit ton of running and a shit ton of cardio and basically was eating like shit and I didn't like my body. So like something was wrong. And so I had to basically break it down and learn one thing at a time. And so I started just really following a certain food guide, which was basically macros. And it took me a long time to master that. But once I mastered my macros and felt like, okay, cool, I'm feeding my body and I feel really good finally. Like there's something about feeding your body and just feeling energy that's amazing. And so once I mastered that, then I started looking at my workouts and we're like, what workouts are going to make me happy? What workouts are going to give me the body that I want? And so I started incorporating those workouts. Some people do it backwards. I teach my ladies sometimes to start with macros and then go to workouts. And then there are some personality types that thrive off of starting the workouts. That would probably have been me, ideally, if I would have known better, but I didn't. So sometimes it's better to start with workouts, get really consistent with those, start kicking butt, feeling really good, feeling strong, and then being like, okay, I've got a good handle on that. I know exactly what days and what times I'm going to work out. I've got that down. I feel really good about that. And that's how you should feel before you move on to the next. You should have a really good handle on something, let's say the workouts, before you move to your macros, because that's going to throw you for a loop. It's going to be something new that you're going to have to learn. And so being consistent in your workouts will help you feel like you're still confident, consistent. And then you can, mess up a little bit with your food. Hopefully there's someone there to help guide you and tell you it's okay and cheer you on and give you directions. That's my job. And so then you learn your macros and then you spend a couple weeks getting the handle on, your macros. Sorry, I did that backwards. You spend a little time getting, familiar with those. And then, after you've got like 2 months under your belt. So now you're consistent with workouts. Now you're consistent with macros. And now you can start to drink more water. Do that for a couple weeks. And then you can start to go for some walks and add in a little bit more, cardio, get in some steps that way. And this is how it's done. Instead of when I have ladies come to me, there's nothing wrong with wanting this. It's just that the basis of it is wrong. So obviously this was me, but when you start a workout program, right, you pay for it and you read the directions and it's like, okay, you're going to do these workouts and you're going to hit these macros and you're going to, drink your water and you're going to get X amount of steps a day. It's like all of a sudden you have your life up until this program and then you read the guide for a program and you're like, oh God, I've got to do a lot of things different, right? I've got a meal plan. I've got a meal prep. I've got to track my macros every day. I've got to hit my workouts. I don't know how to really work the app yet that the workouts are on. So that's going to take time. I've got to get my water in. I've got to take my food with me everywhere. I've got to check in with my coach. Like now there's this basically it's an entire life change and you think you're ready and maybe you are, but you're like, I'm ready. I got this. It's only 4, 6, 8, 12 weeks, whatever. I got this. No big deal. Right. And it's just crazy to think that you could go from doing what you're doing and then change everything all at once. Of course, that works for maybe a week and then you fall off. And so I teach this all the time of just starting slowly. But this is why it's so important, because if you start all of those things at once and you can't keep up with it, I see this all the time in my programs and we have to break it back down. My ladies will say I just can't. I can't track my food. I can't work out. I can't hit my water. I can't do this. I'm too busy. I might as well just quit. Your program's not for me. This isn't going to work. All that negativity sits in because obviously they can't change their whole life overnight. And so I will say, okay, let's take this next week and just hit your workouts or just track your food. We're just going to do one thing this week or just hit 3 of your workouts and track your food. Whatever it works for them is what we do for the next week. And another thing that I have them do is I do have some clients who will only be focused on the results, right? So let's say they do everything perfect for a week, maybe even 2 weeks. Oftentimes it's just a week. I'll have clients come to me and say, I did everything great this week. I did everything perfectly and I still weigh the same. And I know that when we start a program, I know that when we put in the work, I know we want to see results. And I'm never going to be someone who says the results aren't important. They are important. And I know that we want them and I know that they're needed. I also know that they will come when you start focusing on the habits. So the focus is usually, for new clients especially, for a lot of you, the focus is on the results, right? I'm going to buy this program and I want this result at the end of it. And that's fine, but you have to take the results and you have to break that down into the habits. The focus should come off of the results and it should be on the habits that are going to get you the results that you want. If you're not even doing the right things to get the body you want, you won't see the right results, right? You'll just keep spinning your wheels and trying new things and not be consistent. So when the focus is on the results, you think you have to do all these things. And if you don't see the right results after 1 week, apparently, you're not doing it right and you're quitting and you're terrible. And that's not the case. Your focus, it's almost like reverse engineering, right? You have your end goal and then you're like, okay, how am I going to do that? And a lot of people, that's where they mess up in the first place. Is a lot of women, especially, I know this was me, was like, after being pregnant and then lost my baby weight, my pregnancy weight, I just didn't look the way that I wanted to. And so I thought, I want to look toned. Like I want to look strong. And so what did I do? I stopped eating basically, right? I cut back a lot of food and I started running. Well, those were not the right habits. I could have done that for 50 years and not seen the body that I wanted because that was not the right things to get me to the body that I want. So first of all, it is important to know that you have to be doing the right habits. Otherwise, the results won't come at all. But if you have someone who you look up to and you trust, who has been where you are and is now where you want to go, and you can get a blueprint from them and they can honestly tell you, and this is what I do with my ladies, is like, I was there. Like I'm even starting over kind of right now. I've been really inconsistent with sick and just a lot of things going on mentally and physically with me lately that I've been really inconsistent lately. And I'm kind of starting over. I'm kind of breaking it down into like, I'm going to start hitting my workouts again consistently. And then I'm going to start hitting my macros again. And then I'm going to go from there. And so I'm doing exactly what I'm telling you because I have been there. But it is so important to have the right plan in place. And then it's important to not put the pressure on yourself to do everything all at once. It's unrealistic to think that you could go in and just change your entire lifestyle. And it's also important to make sure that you are aware ahead of time. And if you're not, that you are aware eventually during this process that you do have to learn one thing at a time. And it's okay to learn that thing more than once. In fact, this is fresh in my brain because I had a client yesterday who I responded to a question about tracking. She had gotten a hold of me and said that tracking her food is really hard for her. She's tried it in the past and she wasn't giving up at all. She just wanted some tips. She said that she goes out to eat a couple of times a week and she makes a lot of casseroles and crock pot meals, which is totally normal for this time of year, especially soups and crock pot meals and casseroles. And, busy people, we eat out. So it's not a big deal, but it's like how she was confused on how to track that. So it's like, how do I make this work? Finally, she just had me in her corner to ask. And so I was very realistic with her and gave her some tips on if you're going out to eat, type in the URL in MyFitnessPal. For example, my husband and I were at a Japanese or sushi place over the weekend. It was so good. And it's called Fusion. So I was tracking my roll. I typed in Fusion California roll and it was there and it was verified. But if I would have typed in Fusion, which is the name of the restaurant, California roll, and they didn't have it, I would have just typed in California roll sushi and tracked one of them that came up. Or if I'm out at a restaurant having chili or chicken noodle soup or anything that's like combined like that, I will just type in chili and track Wendy's chili or chicken noodle soup and track Campbell's chicken noodle soup. It doesn't have to be that hard. Chances are someone's already logged it in there. So I never make my clients feel like they have to track everything from scratch or be perfect. So I told this client all those tips. And then I said, just do your best. Like just type in the name of some food that you're eating, track it and move on. Because honestly, it's a best guess anyway, as far as even the amount that if you're making something like that, or if you're eating out, the amount that you're eating is a guess. You don't know how much the restaurant actually put on your plate unless you weigh it. You don't know the person that entered that in MyFitnessPal if it's exactly accurate. So it's a best guess case scenario anyway. So, just kind of track that and move on. But it was really nice for me to be able to give her that suggestion. And she was like, that makes it so much easier. That takes a lot of the pressure off. And so that alone helped her to be able to, and she was already consistent with her workouts. And now she'll be able to be more consistent with her food because that was a problem area that she was having. And so one more time to drive home, the point of all of this is to master one thing at a time. Do not go into your fitness journey thinking that you will be able to change your entire life overnight and adopt all these new habits and be successful at them. You will fail and, you will fall off, and that's okay. But learning to do one thing at a time. So a takeaway from this is if you don't have a program purchased, my tip for you is I'm big on workouts. They're my favorite. So I would suggest starting to be consistent with your workouts. I do suggest following a program because you're not going to see, let's put it this way. You'll see better results if you follow a program, but get consistent with those and don't worry about your eating for now. Just hit your workouts, as many as you say you're going to do, make it realistic for a month, for 2 weeks, whatever you want to do, set yourself that goal. And then after that, your next goal should be to track your food for a week. Just track your food. So you're hitting your workouts, you're consistent with that. For 1 week, you just track the food that you're eating. You see what you're eating. Hopefully you know your macros. If not, figure those out. I can help you with that. Have someone that you trust calculate those for you. That's important that they're accurate and by someone who's a personal trainer, nutritionist, knows what the heck they're doing. And then start the next week, keep tracking your food, but change up your foods and trying to hit those goals. Aim towards hitting them. Do not try to hit them the next week. Do not try to be perfect, but start to aim for those goals, starting at where you are and then aiming for those macros. And then eventually you'll be consistent with your workouts. You'll be consistent with your macros and you'll want to just keep going. I promise you this, if you start to be consistent with one thing at a time, it's easy to want to be consistent with more because you gain that confidence. You're seeing some results. You feel like you can do it. You start to feel unstoppable. And there's something about that just no one can take away from you, right? That confidence is something that it goes further than actually the workouts and the macros and the results. The confidence and that mindset is everything. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I would love for you to scroll down and give the show a rating and a review. I would absolutely love to hear from you and your thoughts on the show. Share this episode with a friend that is trying to do all or nothing and always fails. I know they would benefit from this, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening to today's show. Go ahead and leave a rating and a review. And of course, follow the podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And I would love it so much if you came to connect with me over on Instagram at Christy Castillo Fit. I will see you next time.